I'm sure you would have preferred it, though, if it was a Bitcoin-only fund.
So Michael Saylor, the genius billionaire behind MicroStrategy, now called Strategy, gave an update on the crypto market. Let's dive into exactly what he just said and what it means for some of the highest quality altcoins on the planet.
Were you surprised that in the announcement over the weekend, the president mentioned other smaller coins like XRP, Solana, and Cardano, as well as Bitcoin for the strategic crypto fund?
I'm not surprised. There's no way to interpret this other than this is bullish for Bitcoin and is bullish for the entire U.S. crypto industry.
I'm sure you would have preferred it, though, if it was a Bitcoin-only fund.
I believe that the best thing for the country is to move forward with an enlightened, progressive policy toward digital assets. I think it's worth $100 trillion to the United States.
So he's supportive of the US government literally buying altcoins for a strategic reserve. Why is he supportive? Because he's one of the biggest Bitcoin maximalists on the planet, meaning he's only all in on Bitcoin. He's supportive because he realizes how massive the crypto industry is going to be. So he sees a huge, bright future for these altcoins. Again, this is a paradigm shift. A year ago, he would have said there's no place for assets like this. Now he's saying it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry.
We're dealing with instruments that historically, Michael, have had drawdowns of, you name it, I mean, 20, 40, 50%. What would that do to sentiment if, in fact, that was a paper loss, even momentarily, for the government?
I don't think anybody's ever lost money in the Bitcoin network holding 4 years. The United States' best investments are Alaska, Mexico, California, and Louisiana, and Manhattan. We're still holding them hundreds of years later. It's a nation state. So presumably you want to buy Bitcoin, you want to hold it for 100 years. You know where the future's going. The AIs, the foreigners, the Europeans, the 20th century capitalists, they're all going to cyberspace. And so the United States has the ability to buy this for a nickel and pay off the national debt. It'll be the greatest economic program of the 21st century for this country.
So the host is asking him about volatility and how scary it is and should we be worried about it? And what he's saying is short-term volatility is meaningless when you're buying the most valuable digital land on the planet. He is saying Bitcoin is like buying Alaska or the Louisiana Territory or any of the other land the United States bought. It doesn't matter what happens in the short term. It doesn't matter how expensive it is in the very short term because we're buying a piece of cyberspace. And so obviously he views Bitcoin as being a very crucial part of cyberspace, one of the most valuable plots of land in cyberspace. But what he just admitted previously was how valuable altcoins are going to be. And so it's our job, while they're still extremely undiscovered, to identify the highest quality digital land on the planet that's as undiscovered as possible and as underpriced as possible. Because again, Michael Saylor is saying there is a massive future for these assets, which means some of these assets are going to provide life-changing returns. So let's dive into a few of these assets and updates for the big three highest quality assets on the planet and see whether or not they have a place in the future and whether or not they will be some of the most valuable digital land in cyberspace in the future. First up, Chainlink. This comes from stake.link, which has a massive amount of TVL. Right now, it has over $60 million of link value staked on it, right? So this is like the Lido finance of the Link network. It is a massive protocol. This is what they just said about Chainlink. The Chainlink node wars are coming. This will be a seismic shift in Web3 where users will be able to participate in securing a protocol that is far more expansive than any single blockchain or decentralized application. So they're talking about what very few people realize, that these assets are cash flowing entities. The more cash they generate, the more stakers are able to earn. That's how Chainlink was set up. Chainlink node operators and staking protocols will fight for every available Link token to meet the stringent service level agreements required for the most lucrative job opportunities. This competition will incentivize optimal performance among Chainlink node operators. Right now, we're in the Chainlink Cold War, the calm before the node wars. It will take more time before they're here, but they are inevitable. This is one of the biggest Chainlink staking platforms on the planet, tens of millions of dollars in total value locked. They're talking about node wars incoming as people compete for Chainlink TVL. And they're not wrong, because we've talked about how massive the partnerships are for Chainlink on a whole bunch of different videos. If you're interested more on Chainlink, dive into that. But they are predicting node wars where people compete for access to Chainlink. That is the flywheel that was built into Chainlink. So that is one piece of digital land that has incredible long-term staying power, upside, and tokenomics. Just so massive for Chainlink. Then we have an update from Bittensor, which is similar to Bitcoin in that it has 21 million total tokens, and there's a fixed inflation schedule, and those tokens are paid out as emissions to miners. Unlike Bitcoin, the miners are solving real world machine learning, AI, decentralized science problems, whatever the market demands. That is what those TAO emissions are being used for. And so it's creating some of the most revolutionary technology on the planet, which we're going to get into. But these subnets are miners, and they are growing. On September 1, 2024, we had 45 subnets. December 1, 2024, we had about 55 subnets. And on February 25, 2025, we have 70 subnets. So it's growing exponentially. Barry Silbert, who was an early stage investor in Bitcoin and became a billionaire by buying Bitcoin at $10, says that one day there will be hundreds of thousands of these subnets. They're going to be like future websites, all competing for TAO emissions. So one of the biggest influential organizations in the Chainlink ecosystem is talking about how there's going to be massive competition for Chainlink. Well, we're also setting up for a future where there's massive competition of the TAO token, just like there's massive competition for the Bitcoin token. And so here's just one of these 70 subnets competing for TAO emissions. Sports Tensor, NBA prediction snapshot. Wrapped up February with a monster win, 5 out of 6 games, one with 4 being underdogs. So this subnet is using AI created by TAO in decentralized intelligence to bet on sports games. And it's actually extremely successful. So if you had given this subnet $600, $100 for each game, you would have done really well because this bet on underdogs and it won 5 out of 6 games. That is the power of the AI being created and the value of the subnets being created on Bittensor. That is massive value, and that is just one of 70, right? Again, we're trying to find the most valuable digital land on the planet that's as undiscovered as possible. Chainlink, TAO, what about ICP? Remember, these are cash flowing assets. They're decentralized businesses. So one day they're going to be evaluated by their ability to generate cash flow. Well, let's compare Solana's revenue over the last 24 hours to ICP's revenue over the last 24 hours. What we can see is that ICP is generating this much and Solana is generating this much, meaning ICP is closing in on Solana, and ICP's market cap is way smaller than Solana's by a massive factor. If ICP had half the market cap of Solana, it would be something like a 10x move from here. Now, as Solana grows in value and price, ICP would also grow in value and price. So if Solana ever did regain its old highs, then half of Solana's market cap would be way more than a 10x from here. That's how we get life-changing returns. Again, ICP generating half the revenue of the massive Solana. And so is it being adopted? Absolutely. Look at the cycle burn rate over the last year. This speaks to developer activity on ICP. It is up and to the right? So we have builders on top of it. Look at canisters. This is smart contracts. This is essentially what developers are building, skyrocketing up and to the right. What most people don't realize is ICP is a layer 2 of Ethereum. Well, it's attracting total value locked from Ethereum. Right now, there's over 1,000 Ethereum in total value locked on ICP, up and to the right and growing, right? So all these metrics up and to the right. Again, we're trying to find assets that are growing exponentially. Look at the growth in internet identities. These are people that have created identities on the world computer. Starting off a year ago at like 2.3 million. Now, a year later, we're at 2.6 million. So in a down market, we've seen exponential growth on the world computer. This is clearly very valuable land in cyberspace. It's revolutionary technology. ICP is a world computer. So imagine if Bitcoin was a world decentralized supercomputer. That's what we're talking about with ICP. All that matters is the on-chain fundamentals. So we have massive growth on TAO, massive growth on ICP, massive growth of Chainlink. This is just a quick update on this 3 assets. So in the world that Michael Saylor is envisioning, where altcoins are worth an absolute fortune and crypto is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, obviously these are some of the highest quality assets which should have life-changing returns attached to them. Not financial advice, but I'm just pointing out the world that Michael Saylor is envisioning and the role that the highest quality digital land on the planet is likely to play in that multi-chain future that he is envisioning.